Well, hello and welcome. We are here reconning out Cobble Crown ahead of stage 3 for Zwift Games tomorrow. We're going to hit the range 2 tomorrow afternoon. It'll be 4 p.m. Queensland time, Brisbane time. So we're going to see what this is all about. I've had a mate give me some inside line on it already. Apparently he raced on this. I think we've all, if you're not new to Zwift racing, this course isn't going to be that new to you because we will have raced Richmond a lot of times, particularly if you've done Zwift Racing League, or even just like to jump on the racing. They do like to use Richmond as a racing ground. So it's not going to look that unfamiliar. It's just going to be the format, and it looks like there's going to be 3 very particular points where it's going to get spicy. We're about to hit the first one, and then that basically goes too far. So we're heading up to the 23rd Street climb here. This is an absolute mongrel of a climb. To be quite honest, I consider myself a puncher, but I've got to be honest, these climbs on Richmond, they're not the funnest things in the world. So it's probably going to be a very fast start to get here in a good position. The higher levels are going to go absolutely bonkers at this point. High watts, high follow through, because it's up and down. And then you're straight into the next climb, straight after that. And then into a descent for a flat before you hit that climb back up to the start finish. Now I'm going to roll through this. And as you can see, it's just false flats all the way through to the finish of this first climb. Breakaway is going to try really hard to get away here. The problem's going to be, and you'll see when we get here, you go straight out of this one. You've got a very short amount of flat, and then you're basically straight back up. It's not even really flat. Now I very deliberately took that in my lower ski. You would have seen me in gear 1 there for that entire climb. I'm trying to keep this as much as a zone 2 ride as possible. Right. I'm even struggling in gear 1 to get up those climbs. Like it's steep, it's pinchy, and then you add in any number of guys trying to maintain a breakaway, trying to screw as many people over early as possible. It's really going to put a lot of people under pressure. It's going to dig into that red zone. But then you got to remember, as soon as you're up and over those 2 climbs, it's downhill and flat for a good portion of the next few kilometers. So you've got time to recover. I think the big difference about this course in terms of what you normally get when you race Richmond is you're normally doing this route in reverse to what we're doing now. There's going to be a lot of people that want to get confused, make some bad choices early, push themselves too deep, and that's going to be an opportunity to take advantage. As always with racing, stick with the lead group as long as possible. You want to be in that front selection. Because when it comes to sections like this, these nice, flat, easy, little bit rolling sections, people know that they're not going to be able to break that group up without wasting a lot of energy, putting out a massive amount of watts. And so the group reforms at this point. So a little bit of hurt goes a long way in sticking these races out. Here's the bit where we start probably one of the most decisive climbs of the day, because this is the uncategorized climb here, and it doesn't seem too bad for the most part, but you can go red line with this very, very quickly. You can guarantee there's going to be at least one person, if not two, that are going to try and push this particular climb as hard as possible through these sections. Particularly anybody that's not got any sprint resistance. So be prepared for a big surge here. Again, stay in contact. Stay. Bit of personal trivia with this one. This is the bit that always gets me into trouble, because I always blow a gasket in that first half, trying to survive here. And then, as you can see on screen, you've got this next section coming up at, I think it's between 5 and 6%. And more often than not, I'm so deep, I've got no hope. So, don't make my mistakes. That's why we're here. Now you've got a good section through here that's essentially just going to be rolling. There's no real big peaks, no real big dips. It should be smooth and fast. So it's managing fatigue through here, making sure you don't get caught out on a soft pedal or a soft wheel. I apparently don't know where I'm going. And trying to recover as much as possible through this section. We might talk about this one a little bit. This is going to be one that catches people out, because this is a little bit longer stretch, but it's fairly low gradient through here. So just be careful on that turn in. Make sure you don't get caught out and stay with the bunch. is essentially an out and back course. So once you've done half of it, it's just the other half in reverse, right? You know, it's done. So I spoke on the way around about how the first half of this is the reverse to how most people are used to racing on these courses in Richmond. Now, we're back to how most of us know how to race it. So these hard triple climb, as it is in this case, to finish is not unusual to us. But what that brings up is a very important point which we haven't spoken about yet, is the power up for tomorrow, for this stage, which is a feather. And my general rule with a feather is to hold on to it as long as possible. Actually, it's for this series, because you only get one, it's hold on to it as long as possible. So if you can use it for the finish, that's where you want to have it. If you're going to be in the mix at the end, you keep it as long as possible and you use it to your advantage at the end. That said, however, if you're in a position where it's the difference between holding onto the bunch for one more climb or getting dropped, that feather might be your best friend to use there and then. So it really depends on where you are in the race, where you are mentally, and where you are physically, as to how you utilize that best to survive and get the best result you can for the race. That's my 10 cents worth at least. Here we go. See on the left hand side of the screen there from 3 weeks ago, my times when we raced up here for ZRL. And that was a nightmare, to say the least. So as you can see, it's about a 90, 100 second effort. It's gonna hurt either way. If you want to be in the mix at the end, you're going to have to use some berries there to actually get yourself up and over and stay with that lead group, if you're still there at that point. And then you got the joy of hitting this, which is where I got burritoed out of the race the last time we did this course. As you can tell, I'm still dirty about it. That's my buddy Jake that's just joined us. And this is why I said to keep your feather until the end. I reckon that no parking sign is about the perfect spot to launch the feather if you've been able to keep it from this point. Probably won't get you all the way to the top, but if you've got enough to be able to push through as far as possible through this last hilly section, you're in with a good chance. And then just hammer it all the way to the line. Alright, here's the finishing arch. This will be the best part of the whole entire race tomorrow. Alright, well, I think it's going to be an absolute doozy tomorrow. It's probably potentially got the chance to be the hardest stage so far, and it's just entirely going to depend on how those climbs are ridden. So, anyway, we shall see what happens. But guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for making it this far. We will be kicking off tomorrow. We'll have the race video up as soon as I can afterwards. But thanks for joining me. If you want to see any more of these, you know what to do. Otherwise, have fun. Enjoy your own race when you get there. And hopefully some of this has been helpful. Until then, catch you next time.